dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, today in standard 6th geography, we will be learning the topic temperature, which we have already started, and in the first part of this topic we discussed about the thermal zones and about the concept of temperature. Now in today's part we are going to discuss about the world ocean currents and world mean annual temperature and the thermometer. So here in our textbook, figure 5.5 is given to understand the convection and vertical flow of heat. For this, what we have to do, a pot with water is placed on a burner. Here you can see pot is placed on a burner and drop 4 to 5 small plastic buttons in it and observe their movements in water. Now if we observe this, then we can understand one thing, that the water expands on heating, and the hot water from the base moves upward. जो नीचे का वाटर है उसको हीट मिलने से क्या होगा, वो upward direction में मूव होगा. With it the buttons too are pushed to the surface because of the upward movement of the water, and at the same time the relatively cooler water in upper portions move downwards, taking the buttons with it. Now the water which is moving upwards taking the buttons upward direction, and the cooler water which is going downwards direction or moves downwards taking the buttons with it, and this happens repeatedly. In other words, on heating an upward current sets in the water, and in nature the conditions are slightly different than this. So we are going to talk about the conditions in the nature now, how it is different than the situation which is in the figure 5.5. Due to the temperature differences, both upward and horizontal currents develop in the ocean. Here in the figure 5.6 you can see world ocean currents. Due to temperature differences, both upward and horizontal currents develop in the ocean, and besides temperature differences, factors like winds and differences in the density of water also give rise to the horizontal currents, and these ocean currents flow from the equator to the polar region, and from the polar region to the equator. And here also the things going repeatedly. So when an ocean current flows from the frigid to the torrid zone, it reduces the temperature of the coasts in the torrid zone. And when, just now we talked about when an ocean current flows from frigid to the torrid zone, and now when a current flows from torrid to the frigid zone, it increases the temperatures of the coasts in the frigid zone. So this is what is the difference which you have to understand about the ocean currents. Next thing in this, now because of this, the regions where warm and cold currents converge, एक दूसरे के साथ कन्वर्ज होते हैं, वार्म एंड कोल्ड करंट्स, which are favorable for the growth of planktons, which are the food for fishes. Fish from other areas travel towards these areas in the large numbers. They breed in warm waters, and due to high concentration of fish population, fisheries thrive well in these areas. Considering the temperatures of various places on the earth, maps of global distribution are prepared, and here it is given. Figure 5.7 world mean annual temperature. So considering the temperatures of various places on the earth, maps of global distribution are prepared, and here figure 5.7 is drawn with the help of isotherms. Now what is isotherms? Isotherms are lines. आइसोथर्म क्या होती है? लाइंस होती है, बट सिर्फ लाइंस नहीं है. आइसोथर्म्स आर लाइंस दैट कनेक्ट प्लेसेस विद द सेम टेम्परेचर आफ्टर अवॉइडिंग द इफेक्ट ऑफ हाइट. These lines generally appear parallel to the latitude on a world map. So isotherms are the lines which connect places with the same temperature, and if you people observe this figure very carefully, then you can understand how these lines are connecting with each other. Here you can see, observe the isotherm of 25 degrees Celsius in the map. Here it is 25 degrees Celsius, and then here it is 25 degrees Celsius. This line occupies areas close to the equator. The shape of this line appears like an ellipse on the earth or on the map, and the north-south spread of this ellipse is greater on the continents as compared to the oceans. Here if you observe, and you can understand how it is going. The isotherm lines occupy some parts of the continents of South America, here, Africa, here this 25 line is going 25 degrees Celsius, Asia and Australia. A very limited portion of the Pacific Ocean is occupied by this isotherm. You can, by using your textbook, easily observe this. So you'll find two isotherms with a label of 0 degrees Celsius. Two isotherms with a label of 0 degrees Celsius. One is here 0 and one more here. So the 0 degree Celsius isotherm from the southern hemisphere is largely straight and is parallel to the line of latitude. So comparatively, the line of the same value in the northern hemisphere deviates north and south considerably. So in the west, if you talk, in the west, in parts of Pacific Ocean, it is fairly straight, but when it enters the continent of North America, it turns somewhat to the north, and then the line proceeds eastwards. So within a short distance after entering the Atlantic Ocean, it turns toward the northeast, and in this part you will find all the isotherm lines turning towards the northeast, and this is because a warm ocean current is located in this area. And further, after entering Eurasia, while moving eastwards, it turns somewhat to the southeast. Still further in the Pacific Ocean, most of the isotherm lines appear moving eastwards as straight lines. Now the next one, the isotherm in the southern hemisphere are fairly parallel to the latitudinal lines, and in the northern hemisphere The distance between these lines varies. So if you have to understand this in detail, just go through the figure 5.7. Next one, thermometer. This figure 5.1, sorry, it's a 5.8. Simple thermometer is given in our textbook and the questions based on it. What is the tube of the thermometer fixed on? What substance is used in the thermometer tube? What do the figures on the scale indicate? In which different units is the temperature measured? And what season does the temperature in the figure indicate? Now about this we'll study in detail. Different types of thermometers are used for measuring the temperature of air. So mercury or alcohol is used in the thermometers. Keep in mind this, mercury or alcohol. The freezing point of mercury is -39 degrees Celsius, whereas that of alcohol is -130 degrees Celsius. And these materials are highly sensitive to temperature variation, so that we can easily understand the difference in the टेम्परेचर. अगर वो हाईली सेंसिटिव नहीं होंगे तो टेम्परेचर बढ़ भी गया तो वो जहाँ है वही रहेंगे, लेकिन थोड़ा भी अगर चेंज होता है टेम्परेचर में तो उसकी वजह से हमें वो चेंज जो है थर्मामीटर में वो मालूम पड़ता है. एंड देयरफॉर वेरिएशंस इन टेम्परेचर फ्रॉम -30 डिग्री सेल्सियस टू 55 डिग्री सेल्सियस प्लस can easily be observed with the help of these materials. The units of measuring temperature are degrees Celsius. The units of measuring temperature are degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. As shown in the figure, these are expressed like this: degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. The difference in daily temperature, maximum, minimum, can be observed with the help of a thermometer. Air temperature is measured in Celsius. Air temperature is measured in Celsius. Now, on the basis of this, all information, very interesting questions are given in our exercise, and in that, the first one, A, where am I? The isotherm 0 degree Celsius runs in my surroundings. The mean annual temperature is 25 degrees Celsius around me. And the third one, the mean annual temperature around me is 10 degrees Celsius. तो यहाँ पर आपको ढूंढना है कि where am I? Then the question type B, who am I? I connect places of equal temperature. I connect places of equal temperature. That means I'm an isotherm. I'm useful for measuring the correct temperature, that is thermometer. I get heated due to the land or water near me, and land and water get heated due to me. Such type of questions which are very interesting, and you can solve these questions on the basis of our today's lesson. So in our today's lesson, very important things which we learned, and also we can revise this: thermometer, world mean annual temperature, and the isotherms which we observed on 25 degrees Celsius. Isotherms are lines that connect places with the same temperature after avoiding the effect of height, and these lines generally appear parallel to the latitudes on a world map. Then about the planktons, ocean currents, how it change, and the upward and downward movements of the water due to heat. In the last part or the first part of this lesson, we discussed about the difference in the mean temperature of summer and winter is called annual range of temperature. Calculating temperatures. The daily temperature range is the difference between the maximum and minimum temperatures recorded in a day. The difference in the mean temperature of summer and winter is called annual range of temperature. In the coastal region of Konkan, the range of temperature is less, but in Vidarbha, the range of temperature is found to be higher, and therefore coastal areas have an equable climate, whereas in continental areas the climate is extreme. So all these things we discussed in the first part of this topic. So the difference in the day and night temperatures is less in the coastal areas and more in the continental areas. For that, we took example of Mumbai and Nagpur. Daily temperature range and how it changes.
Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications.
So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.